Welcome to Inspired Artist Podcast with me, Porter Singer. I am so excited about this episode because I have two guests on, so it makes it kind of a panel, and also the two guests are super special. So the first one is Diane Khalsa, and Diane I have known for a while. In fact, I just noticed that when she sent me her bio, she actually included me, which I thought was so adorable. So Diane is a MA breathwork facilitator, yoga instructor, massage therapist, energy worker, occupational therapy practitioner. Honestly, the list of things that she does could go on probably for an entire episode. She is certified in so many things and knows so many things about so many things that it's really, really inspiring. I met Diane in the Phoenix Kundalini Yoga Ashram community, and we became close friends there. She has also, Diane, been a student of all things spiritual for as long as she can remember. And since 2002, she has completed 5 yoga teacher certifications, 2 massage therapy certifications, 2 energy healer apprenticeships, and a breathwork facilitator apprenticeship. So she is extremely knowledgeable in what she does and hugely inspirational to me. Rachel Chase is the other person that we are going to be chatting with, and she is a friend of Diane's. That's how I met her. And she is an integrative healer, counselor, coach, and guide. She's taught various forms of visual and performing arts for over 30 years. And Rachel sees life as a sacred practice and loves to inspire others to awaken their spirit through play, compassion, and self-expression. And the thing that we came here to discuss, why we did the podcast episode, is because they have this amazing retreat that they're facilitating in Sedona, Arizona, called Quantum Spirit, Healing Beyond Time and Space, from June 3rd to June 6th of 2023. And they still have a few spots left. So if this podcast inspires you, if you feel like called towards the information that they're sharing, then please reach out to them. You can email Rachel at rachelchase.com. I'll put all the information in the podcast show notes so that there will be no confusion about how to sign up. And yeah, let's get into it. Here we go.
Hi.
Hello.
I haven't done a 3-way podcast in a while, so I'm excited. I love having more of like a panel. It feels like more of a panel forum kind of thing. So yeah, I'm super excited to talk about, well, specifically your retreat that's coming up in June. And yeah, can you talk a little bit about either of you? I don't know who feels more inspired to start. It's going to be the other cool part of our forum, is that we'll just have to intuit who goes next. But do either of you feel like starting out and just kind of explaining what people are going to be doing?
I think I'm going to let Rachel do that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, so what we're going to be doing is it's a 4-day immersion at the Sedona Creative Life Center in Sedona, Arizona. I think there's only one Sedona. I think when you say Sedona, people know it's in Arizona. And Diane and I will be leading some essentially workshops with a flow throughout that 4 days. The first 2 days will be full days, and then the second 2 days will be half days. And I can just kind of give you a little list of the workshops and experiences and the theme. And Diane can talk about the theme a little more too, because it's really inspired. And so I'll give you a rundown, and I'm just going to kind of bring up the schedule. So I've got it in front of me. Yin yoga, conscious breath work, amazing breath work. And those are both guided by Diane on both Saturday and Sunday, June 3rd and 4th. So it's 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th of June this summer, 2023. And we'll also be guiding some group circles too, as far as sharing and processing whatever comes up during that breath work. And I will be guiding some somatic healing journeys and qigong and sound healing and art therapy. And we've got some movement and dance on the books too. Diane's got a cool ecstatic dance process that she's going to guide folks through. And did I say art therapy? And some art therapy too. So I don't want to give too much away, but we'll also be doing some qigong in the Red Rocks. And on the final day that morning, we'll meet for a short hike that Diane's going to guide us through. So that's the flow. It's the
Oh,
general
that
flow.
sounds so cool. I love that. That's
We're so
amazing.
excited. Mm.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be working with you, Rachel.
Me too, Diane. Me too. Diane and I, well, let's see. So when did we meet, Diane? You tell that story of how we met.
Well, it was like we knew each other before we knew each other, right? There were so many coincidences and synchronicities. So both of our stepfathers taught together at the college in Florida that both of us went to. So, but at different times, right? You went for grad school and I went for undergrad. So anyway, there was that connection. And then I think we officially met at the Kundalini Yoga Center in Altamont Springs, where I did my first Kundalini Yoga teacher training. And I just immediately fell in love with Rachel. I remember you were teaching Sudarshan Chakra Kriya. That was the first time I'd ever done it. And I think I reached out to you after that. Yeah.
Was she a teacher there? Okay, so you were
Yeah.
taking the training and you, Rachel, were teaching it?
I was teaching a workshop that day that
Okay.
Diane had come to. And during that workshop, that was one of the meditations that we were doing. And that was in what, like 2014, maybe? I'm thinking 2013, maybe? 10
Yeah,
years ago.
around there.
Yeah.
Yep, around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I reached out to her, I don't know, about a couple different things. I think I realized the connections between our dads teaching together, and I probably had questions about the Kriya, because it's very powerful Kriya, if you know it. Yeah, and we just got to talking, and I think I reached out to you on a kind of a regular basis after that. I was living in Jacksonville and you were in Orlando, and you were kind of involved, well, were involved very much in the art scene and at the Atlantic Center for the Arts. And I had several friends who knew you or knew of you who were artists in Orlando. So anyway, I just fell in love with Rachel.
And I fell in love with
And
Diane.
I reached out to her. This is a funny thing. I don't know if you remember it, Rachel. I reached out to her before I moved to the Phoenix ashram quarter. So and just to kind of get her advice and to kind of bounce it off of her. And I don't know how you knew this, but you knew that Porter was there. You said she was there. And as I've told you for a long time, Porter, your music has been incredibly special to me for a very long time, and a big part of my spiritual practice for many, many years. So when I found out you were there, I started thinking, oh my God, I'm going to meet her. And I think I've told you this, Porter. So it just felt like all these, especially this moment in time right now with the three of us here. And this is the quantumness, right? These things that happen in time and space, and they seem like coincidences, but I don't know. I don't think they are. I think
Wait,
it's
so
more
that
than
was
that.
that was like a tipping point in like your decision. I don't think I really knew that, and I was Sirgan at the time, just to not confuse people who are listening. You're so good at the name change thing, but yeah,
right, yeah,
huh? Wow,
Okay,
absolutely.
that is so fascinating. So, we have these meetings all along the way, and then the growth that happens and the contributions we're making to each other's lives, and we don't even know it.
Right.
And then we find out later. It's so amazing.
Yeah. Well, and Rachel had lived at the Millis Center.
Right.
So I don't know if that's how you knew where people were or what. I know you went to Winter Solstice and kind of the East Coast kind of thing in the Kundalini circuit. So yeah.
All those years. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Helping to put on the fall festival at the Kundalini Center
I
in Milton,
played there.
Massachusetts.
That was like the last event that I've done. Yeah.
Mm,
That was my
fascinating.
that was my swan song.
Right. And we
Yeah.
go. Well,
Yeah.
it's so amazing to just think about all our journeys. And
Hmm.
I know maybe we could even have a whole other talk another time about, I mean, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian cult until the
Ah,
age of 12. So there's
wow.
just some fascinating correlations there.
Because your
Um,
family left or like you left or
family.
yeah.
My mother got us out, essentially. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a quite a journey. So all these ways we come to find ourselves in and out of different things that
Hmm.
aren't necessarily so healthy, perhaps, to find
Yeah.
our way to what's true for us, and the quantum thing. So the retreat is called Quantum Spirit, Healing Beyond Time and Space. And that's inspired by Diane and I's fascination with the quantum realm. And I know I did a quantum healing, facilitated a session for Diane a while back. And we really, when you're in these sessions, it's like you're having this journey together. And and it was so palpable and beautiful to go on Diane's journey with her. And the connections that we've made, and just the conversations that we keep having in our lives. So well, I knew I wanted to do a retreat in Sedona at some point, and Diane, you were like, yeah, you should do a retreat at this place that I go to called the Creative Life Center. Yeah, you should do that. And I was like, well, we should do that. Well, let's do it together.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
Is it a because there's a place in Phoenix called the Creative Living Fellowship, I think. Is it like a New Thought church or is that just the Creative Living Center in Sedona? Do they have any?
And I think it's separate. There is a chapel there.
Okay.
Hmm. Lots and lots of different people have come through there and offered retreats and different events and things. And I mean, I just can't even, we don't have to make the interview all about this, but so it's something about Rachel, I think, maybe the two of us. So there's a particular astrologer that Rachel had recommended to me. And the day I went to finalize everything for our retreat, I went in person to Creative Life Center. Guess who was there that weekend?
That
That
astrologer.
astrologer. It's
Was
just,
who's the
it's
astrologer?
incredible.
Molly
Molly
McCord.
McCord.
Molly
Yeah.
McCord. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And her title of her workshop she was doing was like something like quantum astrology. So I'm
I
like
had
taking pictures and sending them to Rachel. I'm like, this is crazy.
synchronicities abound.
Yes.
I had
Yes.
been there actually. I went to that venue in 2008, spring of 2008, with my then yet to be fiance, yet to be husband, now husband, and um, to see Jai Uttal, the kirtan artist,
Oh,
for a
cool.
show, and he was using the main room, the biggest room, big concert room. They have several rooms. We'll be using one of the other rooms because we're not going to need that huge of a space, but it's one of these places that's just like so cool. It's just such a cool spot. It's
Yeah.
not the type of retreat center that has lodging there, so folks will need to line up their own lodging for the retreat and accommodations and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
And the views are just gorgeous from every window and every patio. It's just incredible just to look out from the Creative Life Center.
mhm.
Yeah,
Beautiful,
Sedona is
Gorgeous,
beautiful
just
place.
so gorgeous. I've always loved Sedona.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've been going to this retreat center pretty regularly since I started doing breath work. So it's near and dear to me. I feel like it's a special place for healing and growth for a lot of people. There's the energy is just, it's like beyond words. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about each. I don't even want to call this an interview because I really just like to have conversations with people, and I don't have prepared questions or anything like that. But I do want to get into all these things that Rachel mentioned in the beginning because I'm curious. So I know about Diane, I know about the breath work that you do. I would love for you to explain it so that other people can get in the know of it. I have done a few sessions with you over Zoom, which have been really amazing. And then I also just went to your teacher's workshop who came to Seattle last Sunday, which was just such a powerful experience. So do you want to tell, I would love to hear like how you got into the breath work and then kind of how it works and what you are intending for people to get out of it. Ooh, that did sound like an interview.
Yeah. I have always been a seeker, right? For as long as I can remember. So breathwork was actually a part of my very first yoga teacher training back in 2001. We did a rebirthing style of breathwork, and we did it a couple times, and I had profound experiences both times where, I just felt like my entire body was lit up. I was getting downloads. I was having conversations with loved ones from the beyond, or current people in my family who, I was like going back to childhood and having conversations that I wished I could have had or handled better. So from the beginning, my very first taste of it, I was just having these incredible, profound experiences that I couldn't make sense of with my mind. And I think I got scared. I actually got scared because I wanted to understand it. So it was a long time before I really did it again, or was like curious about it again. I'd say, so I think I met Zach, my breathwork teacher, in 2017, 2018. And Egg Cable, actually, from Phoenix Ashram, introduced me to him. I went to one of his workshops here in Phoenix, and same thing again, literally like within minutes. I think you've had this experience, Porter, you've shared with me. Within minutes of starting the breath process, I'm like, the only thing I can describe is it was a Kundalini awakening. Just your whole body vibrating, all this light and energy pouring through the center, coming through, the crown chakra. And I'm of course bawling my eyes out, just this amazing, incredible, beyond words experience. And so then I started doing it regularly because I thought, this is amazing. And of course, since then, I've had very different experiences. And like a lot of people, I think I've kind of tried to chase those initial profound, like intense experiences. I chased it for a while, and then I realized, you know what, there's so much to be discovered and explored here. Why limit myself to just that one type of experience? And it's been this process of just opening and opening and opening. When you don't think you can open or possibly discover anything else, there's something else. And that's this particular breath that, so I apprenticed with Zach after that, and starting in 2019. So during like high times of COVID, we're all stuck at home, and that's why I did sessions with you on Zoom, Porter. So I did the training, and it's just changed my life. I clearly moved out of the ashram since then. Lots and lots of changes, relationship changes, job changes. I love where where I've landed. I love my life today. I feel a lot freer than I was before. A lot freer. Um, so yeah, and it just continues. It just continues. And I want to share that with people because I am clearly so jazzed about it. Yeah. So that's breath work. And this particular breath, like I was saying, it kind of lends itself to this like constant discovery of something new is what I've gleaned from it and what other people have in the feedback that I've gotten. It's a pretty it's very if I could describe it, I would describe it like a gentle, like a yin, a feminine style of breathing. It's circular, it flows, there's no gaps or pauses. It's kind of like water. I think of like a water wheel when I'm doing the breath. And I, the mechanics of it kind of create that same experience, right? It translates over into what you get out of it. So I just absolutely love it. So I'm here to share it.
When you said that you got scared of it at first, that reminded me that I didn't go into this session with that, but in sessions with you, maybe because it was newer, and I also knew what I was getting myself into because I had done it once before with Zach. The thing that scared me about it was that I knew I was going to be doing something repetitive for that long and getting sort of like feeling that like not free in the fact that it was going to be so repetitive and I was going to be like I don't know, like entrained in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know why that's scary, but it wasn't scary this last time, but that made me think of other times that I've done it.
So I remember that, and if I may, the sense that I got and still do is, we both of us were coming out of this very rigid, gotta follow the rules kind of lifestyle, and it was really difficult for me to go to a new teacher and trust him. That didn't last very long when I realized that the style that Zach showed me and is here to teach is, it's not about following his rules. It's about you, and you have the ability to play with the breath. You have the ability to stop and get up and walk out if you want. No one's going to block the door. So yeah, and he definitely has shown me time and time again that he's just here to share it because he loves it, as much as I do, and he's been able to help a lot of people. And the people I went through the training with, the people I go on retreats with, it just feels like we're just constantly shedding these layers, So I'll go to these retreats 3-4 times a year if I can. For a while I was doing it that frequently, and that's what it felt like. I'm like just peeling layers of the onion off, peeling, but it never ends. And I'm in control.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you two done this in combination before? Because I have actually imagined, like, after I've done sessions with you, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling so creative. I want to go sing. I want to dance. I want to draw something. Like, that just seems like such a perfect combo. Is this the first time that y'all are going to workshop this, or have you kind of done it before?
It is the first time we're workshopping it. And we have done many sessions together in other ways. So we've gotten creative together in the healing process, and we've tapped in with that together in different ways, but not in a workshop format. So we're so excited to get to do this
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done some art therapy with Rachel, of course, the quantum healing, hypnosis, which I absolutely adore. It's on my list of trainings I want to do one of these days. I had just an incredibly profound experience. Rachel spends so much time in these sessions with her clients. She is just the most caring, uh, supportive, loving individual that you'll ever meet.
Oh.
Yeah, and extremely intuitive. And so, yeah, I was on this journey, and I was at the pyramids of Egypt in my journey.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really cool. And people who know me know I'm kind of fascinated with pyramids, and so it was quite an adventure, and I can't wait to do it again. Actually, I probably won't have the same experience twice, but who
What
knows?
is the
Yeah.
what is the process? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking about how they're all different and how true that is, Diane. And just like any of the healing processes, as you're talking about breath work, I wanted to say something about one of the breath work sessions I received from someone else, but years ago. I also did some of the rebirthing stuff and yoga teacher training a long time ago too. But I'll never forget one of the experiences I had with breath work, where we were in person in a room, and we were doing that circular kind of breathing. And I had a shoulder pain that during that time. So I was recovering from a real like crazy injury. And so it was basically almost gone by the end of that session, the pain. And someone else in that room said, because we did some processing afterwards where we were sharing what happened and our experiences, and she said she had a strange pain in her shoulder and elbow all of a sudden, and she described it, and it was my pain. She said it came for a minute and then it went, and she
Wow.
didn't know that I came in with that injury.
Wow.
And I said, well, I think you might have been feeling my pain for a minute. And we discovered in that conversation that we were kind of processing things together. And of course,
Mm.
you two know that experience of yoga classes and music and everywhere, where it's this group shared thing that we're going on, journey that we're going on together, experiencing. And
Yeah.
that, I just think that's just incredible. Talk about the quantum, right? The
Yes.
consciousness field that we're all in together. So
Yeah.
powerful. Mm.
That's one of the beautiful things that happens in breathwork groups, versus doing it individually. Both are great. Um, I feel like groups have the potential to kind of catapult us and take us um, further quicker, in my experience. And also, there's this beautiful dance of like how we kind of assist each other.
Mhm.
I've come out of sessions and I've said, I felt like I was just holding the space for like a couple people in the room, or like the energy in the room over here. It wouldn't even necessarily be a person, just
Hmm.
something's going on over here, and I'm almost like a circuit, right? Like you're plugged in, and it's just incredible.
Spatially,
Sometimes you'll
there's
have people, yeah, people be cracking up laughing, crying uncontrollably. And then sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, and only to find out in your dreams that night or the next day, holy crap, like, these downloads, or, like the synchronicities again, and the incredible healing that can happen that can't be explained. And I'm here to tell you, not so hung up on trying to explain everything anymore, because
It's probably
it doesn't
wrong
really
anyway.
matter. Right. And a lot of these things cannot be described. Infinite cannot be described in words.
Right. Right.
The quantum cannot be described in words.
Yeah. And so often in the beginning, we're like, okay, who was that guide? And what was that? And I need to put all the pieces together. And it's understandable because there's puzzle pieces and we are trying to put our pieces together. And, you know, we have these experiences that are so different than before that it's like, how can we reconcile? And I think the more we practice or do whatever our creative practices, our spiritual practices, that the integration starts to happen kind of behind the scenes too, you know, something.
That's such an interesting point that I'd never considered. It's like your ability to describe what you have experienced is expanding at the same time as what you've experienced, because without those experiences, then you have nothing to draw from, kind of. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
And
yes. You don't have the
language
reference
can
point.
only describe so much. Yeah.
Right.
That as well. Yeah.
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 Soul.
Yeah.
Soul language is symbolic.
Yeah.
Soul language is the symbolism of visual and auditory that isn't always our English language doesn't necessarily have the capacity to hold it. And so we must express.
Yeah.
Well, and so we have art and dance and music and
Exactly. And
Right.
and the introspective, the journaling too, of just being with, just letting it come and flow. And it's with the art processing, it's so many times when I'm doing art therapy with a client, at first they'll say, I don't even know what this means. This doesn't mean anything. And then you look at it later, a day, a week, a month, a year later, and you realize, oh my God, it's all right here. I did say it all right there. I didn't even know it at the time, but it's all right here.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, I love to talk about, Porter, that I would like to bring up is polyvagal theory. Just a little bit.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And I mean, even just to like dial it back to sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, just the basics, right? So when I had that fear response, right, from the incredible experiences I was having when I tried breathwork initially, it was this feeling of trying to like explain it, which is this form of control, and like clamp down on it. So the sympathetic nervous system is in hyperdrive for most of us nowadays. If you live in a city like I do, and Rachel's out, she's somewhere way out because she's smart. But our nervous systems are just wrecked by and large. So you hear a lot about polyvagal theory these days, the vagus nerve, the different aspects of the vagus nerve, that it's been discovered that you can turn on the dorsal aspect of your vagus nerve so that you're in this open, calm state, right? It's not like you're asleep or like lethargic or anything. You're open and you're calm. You can receive, you can socialize. So breath work, singing, right? Anything that gets you into your creative brain, dancing, right? All these things will turn that mechanism on, right? So that you're in that open, relaxed state. And that's what we want more of, right? Yeah. That's what we all need
Yeah.
more of so that we can heal.
Yeah.
I mean, the natural healing process takes place when we allow it to, when we're not in constant fear, trying to clamp down and control and understand. Um, yeah, when we can just
And if I may just riff on that a little bit, the you know, the trying to make sense of things, is also about, well, why are we trying to clamp down and control? Because we want to feel safe. And that's the traumatized body doesn't feel safe. The go stress continually doesn't feel safe. And so trying to make sense of everything, having that, oh, I can put all the pieces together and wrangle it all in, and then then if I know, if I think I know, then I have all this knowledge of what is happening, and so now I can be in my box of safety, and everything is defined for me, because the unknown is so scary to the ego, right? And it's triggering to that nervous system that's already frayed and on the edges and constricted in that vagus nerve you're talking about, that winds its way around everything, that's clenched up. And I live out here because my nervous system needed some recovery after living on a street where the traffic was just whizzing by for 8 years, in a in a day-to-day grind of driving here and driving there and driving everywhere. So bless you, Porter.
bless you.
Salud.
Yeah.
But yes, I love that you brought that up, Diane. Mm-hmm.
Um, a couple other things, if I may, about Rachel. um, so Rachel she's a mental health counselor, and if you've tried breath work, you may have discovered that sometimes it can bring up memories from the past that might have been traumatic, things that you've forgotten that you all of a sudden remember. And, I do my best to support and help people through their process if they come out of a session and they need that type of support. And because I'm not a trained mental health therapist, I would refer to someone like Rachel who has that specific training. And so that's another one of the beauties that we may not have mentioned, that we have her support. She's extremely adept. I know I've had plenty of sessions with her by now, and I've referred lots of people to her, and she's just fabulous in that way. So she has that training, and she's also a Reiki master. So
Yeah.
when we're doing breath work, it's really great if facilitators can also assist in the movement of the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So just this collaboration between the two of us, it just makes so much sense.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Here. That does make so much sense. We
Yeah.
have the
So much
complementary things that we do, and respect for each other, and a sense of where we're at with each other. That's just, it's like we knew each other before we knew each other, like you said.
That's
There's,
exactly how it feels.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as the movement is concerned, I mean, I grew up as a dancer. That was my first love, Porter, was dance, and music. And so I incorporate sound a lot in the therapeutic work. So vocalizing, toning, making sounds with movement, which is that inner massage, and feels so good to the soul to just release those pent up emotions that need to come out. So it's really fun to witness people letting go and releasing, and it's just they go, oh my God, it's so easy. You know, well, I just got to give myself permission. I think
Yeah.
that harkens back to the cultural thing of like, stay in your lane, and we don't have permission to just be loose, you
It
know.
also
Right.
helps to come to a space where you aren't expected to be a certain way. Like that's the beauty of a retreat, right? You come, nobody here really knows how I'm supposed to act or so I could just go with what I'm, I can go with the integration that I need right now, and I don't have to be. I mean, you never have to be, but it's nice to have that, that external expectation lifted when you come to the retreat.
So true.
Yeah.
It's so true. You can just leave it all behind and come and just be you. If it's time for just introspection and being in your own space, or if it's time for connection and, being more young energy while you're there, it's whatever it needs to be for each person.
Yeah.
I love retreats. Oh my gosh.
I know,
One of the
right?
things that Zach did too during the breathwork session that we went to, that was actually really helpful for me, because I was having, I think I was one of two people in the whole room of 30 that made any sound whatsoever besides their breath, which was totally different than the last one that I went to with Diane and Phoenix, where like everybody was having like
We're loud in Phoenix.
wild range of sounds and emotions and crying and whatever. But I'm in Seattle now, and anyway, I got some insight as to why that is. But yeah, he came, and like I get like a cramping in my calf sometimes
Mm.
as part of the tetany in my foot. It like comes up to the calf, and it is like it's so this time I was trying to just breathe or sound through it, and that really helped. And I also gave myself permission to sort of relax the breathing, because I was like, oh, I think that's enough. I think that's enough intensity, which I was really proud of myself for. But what I'm getting to is that he came and kind of like swiveled my hips a little bit, like just sort of moved my hips around, which is not something that I can get in a Zoom session. So that was actually that's my it's nice to go into a space where you can have that facilitated for you, as opposed to doing it on your own, which is another great reason to go in person. So.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
indeed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Zach's not a big fan of the virtual breath work. For probably that's one of the reasons. Yeah. And I get it. And I usually don't offer it to people unless they have done it with me in person before, or with someone in person before.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't have any problem doing it online. I think it's wonderful. It's fantastic too. But yeah, also different benefits when you do it in person.
Yeah, depending on the
Yeah.
person, depending on the situation. Yeah, definitely. It definitely depends. And all of my BQH, it stands for Beyond Quantum Healing. All of those sessions that I do are all on Zoom, all of them. And they're like 4 to 5 hour sessions. And so I
with
will
like a group
incorporate.
or with one person.
Well, I do lead group journeys, but they're shorter. And I actually facilitate an ongoing women's coaching group where we meet every Wednesday night. And I also do new moon circles on Zoom, and all that is online. But the quantum healing sessions are one-on-one. And essentially, client comes in with a list of things that they're healing, wanting to work through physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, whatever it is, you name it. And what I do is I prompt the client to make a list of maybe questions or desires that they would like to ask from their own higher self for. And that, what is it you want to receive from spirit? What do you want to receive during this session? And some people come in with just one theme, but most people will come in with a list, and I give them a lot of prompts so they can do that. And then we talk about all that. We talk about all of it. We unpack everything. We look at the relationship with things. And I may do some coaching and some guidance, but I tend to kind of hold back on that. Because in that session, what we want to do is then I guide a ritual water intention ceremony. And then I guide the client into a relaxed state. So this is gentle hypnosis. It's not the type where you're completely knocked out hypnosis, although I think that's less and less common nowadays anyways. The consciousness is shifting. I think the hypnosis used to mean more of that, oh my God, I'm going to be under and I won't know what happened. And people can get scared. That can sound scary, like I'm not going to be in control. But in this state, it's like that space that Diane was talking about, that openness and that physiological mental state brings you into what you could call the theta brainwave state, right? Where you're in the in between sort of sleep and awake. But some of my clients even stay quite conscious during the process. Some people feel a little more sleep, it depends. Everybody's different. And then I essentially guide the initial regression part is guided. And then after that, the higher self is taking, or the soul self, or the super consciousness, whatever you want to call it, part of self is then essentially taking the client to different experiences, past life, alternate life, whatever you want to call that, or otherworldly, or even just a space inside that feels more connected with that higher self aspect to bring through the guidance. And every journey, every experience that happens within that state is in service to all the questions that were brought in the first place. And then we have a conversation with the higher self, so that the client is speaking the whole time. I'm asking questions. What are you experiencing? What's happening now? My voice is very, gentle and meditative. And essentially you, the client, are reporting what you're experiencing. And my job is to assist in allowing you to have a deeper experience of it so that it's more palpable and more clear. And then it's all recorded so that all that information is then can be processed, and we can either process it together later or not, depends on what the client needs. So that's a kind of overview. Now, when I do it in a group, it's different because I can't ask everybody questions. What are you experiencing? What are you experiencing? What are you? So it's more of a journey of guided visualization, but I'm not exactly saying what you're experiencing, because for each person, it's going to be different. And part of the art therapy during the retreat is going to help people draw out some of those experiences in quantum and bring them into form, whether it's through words or movement or sound or visual. I'm going to bring some watercolors and some oil pastels, and I'm not going to give away too much more. So, but yeah.
I can't believe it's taken me this long to ask this question, but could you explain your concept of quantum?
Yeah. I love that. Right, what the heck is quantum anyway? Well,
because we keep saying it, so I want to make sure we're all, everybody listening
totally
on the same page.
We can look at it on different ways, right? So I guess I'll give my spiel, and then Diane can give your perspective. And but essentially, if we're looking at it in terms of quantum mechanics, quantum physics, the idea is on the teeniest level of something, there within it holds like a hologram, everything is projected outward as well as inward, and on the tiniest level you can affect everything from just going down into the tiniest level of things, which is where the seed of totality, if you will. Isn't this funny? It's like we're trying to explain the ineffable. This is what we were talking about before. How do you use words to describe?
Yeah.
And so you can think of it also as non-locality. Here we are on Zoom. I know you're there. I know you're there. And I know I'm here. And we're using this technology to connect us from different places together in one place. And if we would have said that you could do that however many decades ago, people go, how? That doesn't make sense. I don't understand. You're going to have a thing that you look at
20 years ago. I mean,
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Not even that long ago, right? It was like the
exactly.
Jetsons.
Yes. So What do you think?
Yeah, I think back to your example of the artwork. Someone might do some art and not think that it's relevant to anything that's going on for them. Like they don't know what it's about. And then a year later, they look at it and, oh my God, that's what that was. I've done that in journaling several times. I kind of have a little practice that I do where it's akin to manifesting, right? It is manifesting.
Yeah.
So, you know, um, you can speak the words as if it's happening right now. And that's what I'll do when I journal, or I'll refer back to, can you believe, a year ago when we did our Sedona retreat, Rachel, and now can you believe how far we've come since then? Now we're doing retreats quarterly, we're traveling, we're, something like that. I'm just giving you an example, right?
Yes.
So you can speak in a way that will create something in another time or space, right? And I know you know this, Porter. um, so, quantum is exactly what you said, Rachel. It's, and it's happening in the breathwork sessions, it's happening in the art therapy, it's happening in the journaling, it's happening anytime you imagine what you want your life to be like, or heal something in a conversation you had with a loved one who has passed during a breathwork session, right? So I literally feel like I have been able to heal things that happened in my past that I thought I wouldn't ever get the chance to have that conversation with that person. I wish I could go back in time and change that thing that happened. Good news is you can. If it's ready to be healed, this is another thing that we say in the conscious breath work, it will come up. If it's not ready to be healed, it won't. So that also helps people to relax a little bit more about the process, right? Because sometimes people come in with this idea it's going to be so intense and I'm going to cry and I hate to cry and I'm going to ugly cry and what's going to happen? They're all going to hate me when they see me like that. And that's not necessarily the case for everyone. Or they're afraid that they're going to uncover more trauma that might have happened to them. So, the universe, goddess, whatever you want to call it, has our back. And when you're doing these processes, what comes up to be healed is what you're ready to heal. Yeah, and that can move beyond time and space. That's happening on so many different layers, so many different levels.
And your body knows. Your body knows what it's doing. It will release what it is ready to release, as you said, whatever. And that thing about you can heal the past because everything is now. It's all connected. And whatever you do now has an effect through time and space. And that ripple effect is real because we use our consciousness and our heart energy and that breath to send it in. And connecting in the imaginal realm is a way of using that portal, if you will, of consciousness to tap into connecting through time and space. So you're activating in the now, you're allowing your body, you're saying yes to your body's wisdom.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Something that I've never
softening and relaxing.
Softening and relaxing.
Yeah. Something that I sort of kept in my head as what was going on, because what was sort of beautiful about when you, Diane, discovered Zach, it was around the same time that I discovered what ended up like sort of taking me out of the Kundalini yoga area as well. It was just like, oh, another interest, and this seems way more interesting to me right now. That's just sort of, I think, what happened for both of us, which was really interesting. And and that helped me during the session, because what I kept remembering was it's just like it's breath, it's pure love. Like anything that is happening right now is just pure love. It couldn't be anything else. So I can't be afraid of pure love. That's insane. You know? So that helped me. That helped me this last time too. I was just like, all right, this is, this is love too. I can like I can handle
Beautiful.
love, right? Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's your support
Gorgeous.
too. You're supported there. That's the universe, goddess, spirit. It's love. It's you're supported. You're held. As
Yeah.
soon as you make that intention,
Mm.
right? That's why you're there to do that reconnection work.
Yeah.
Reconnection, releasing, integrating. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, if do you all have a little bit more time? Because I would love to talk about integration.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your process, philosophy, experiences? Pick anything in terms of integration, because that is a huge component, and I think that that's something that isn't necessarily incorporated when you go to a 1-day workshop. I mean, this is going to be a great opportunity for people to actually integrate. Whether they do more afterwards too, they can. But like in the yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
So integration is happening in the now moment at the retreat, and it's also happening after. It's happening before you come. As soon as you know you're going to be doing it, you're already beginning the process because you've made an agreement with yourself that this is what you're doing, and it's already putting it into the works. And so integration versus disconnection, I guess if for the contrast, understand, well, if we're talking about integration, why integrate? What is it? What does that have to do with healing? It's the feeling of disconnection from ourselves, that we're bringing parts back together, parts of self, aspect of self, to be loved, to be nurtured. It's like shadow work, right? We think of the parts that are unknown, or in the unconscious, as Jung would say, the unknown parts of ourselves, to bring into the known, to bring the light of awareness. Oh, I see this is here it is. And then maybe there might be some more contrast as we bring those things into awareness. You ever had those episodes where you get these like those intense experiences you're talking about? You go to these things and then you come out of the retreat and you're like, oh my God, I'm coming down. I had this high and now I'm coming down. And so some people can have that or not after a retreat. Just everyone's different. I know I've experienced it, because you go into these spaces and you have these emotional connections and experiences and these insights, and then you go back to your regular life, and it's like, oh, how do I bring that with me? And that's integration, to okay, reflect back and say, well, what did I learn? How do I want to take this with me? And that's a big part of what we'll be doing in the retreat too, is reflecting on how will we take this with us into our lives, and then knowing that there's the support at the on the other side for maybe some of those things that life brings up, that says, okay, you're having these epiphanies, now here's the challenge or initiation that you're about to go through to apply that new found awareness that you have, and be kind of almost confronted maybe a little bit with something that says, okay, here's the thing from your past that you've been wanting to heal, that now's your opportunity to really do it. So yeah, integration is self-awareness. It's awareness of your connection with others, awareness of what your truth is, and being able to love those parts of yourself that maybe haven't felt so lovable in the past. So those are my thoughts on
Yeah,
integration.
I love what you said about the now, Rachel. Because I think this idea that we're either in a retreat or we're in our real life, there's this notion of separate, right? And it's all us and it's all now. I've definitely experienced, leaving retreats and like not wanting to leave, right? Because I don't want to go back to the contrast. And as I mentioned before, I've been to many, many retreats at this point. And what I've noticed happening just kind of naturally through, practicing presence, going through the process, the breathwork process that's healing me. The breath is healing me. Things are very different now where I don't feel like retreat versus real life are two separate things. Lots of things like that have been healed. Like that was a healing that I experienced, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I bring myself in the now to both experiences now. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing that has happened for me, and many other things as well. I mean, my mom just moved in with me, and if you would have told me that 5 years ago that she was going to live with me, there's no way I would have believed you. And it's going really well. So, that was a huge healing for me. And I 100% attribute it to largely breath work and a lot of the other practices that I've either continued to do or discovered, some of the processes that I've done with Rachel over the past few years in particular. So
just being able to be present, right?
Presence,
to be present.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to feel like you don't need to escape from your life.
I love it when you say that, Porter. You've said that to me before.
I have?
Yes, in different ways.
That.
And a few years ago you said it, and I was in a different space, and I thought, well, what is she talking about? Of course I need to escape, And now I'm like, oh yeah, I love my life. My life is great. I don't need to escape. It's all.
I love how great of a memory you have, because
me too.
You like quote me back to myself sometimes, and I'm like, I said that?
Oh my God, you say the best things.
I'm glad you're paying attention.
I should jot them all down and put them in a book.
That would make a fabulous book, because I bet you remember things from like so many people, right? Like
some
Diane's book of
I could do some
all
Rachel
the beautiful things I've heard.
Yeah, I got into a relationship recently, and I was talking to Porter about it and how scared I was, and a lot of that stuff coming up. And she goes, first of all, the stakes aren't that high. I was like, what? What? And you are so right. You are so right. So that helped me to relax. Again, the relaxing, the softening, right? And the other thing was you said you're great either way. You're great in a relationship or out of a relationship. And I was like, thank you. And there you go.
So comforting.
Yeah. Both of you. You're wise women.
And so are you, Diane. You're extremely wise. And it's such a pleasure to converse with you both and just be in this space together and explore all of these wonderful ways of being and holding space together. So awesome.
Yes. Amazing. Good stuff.
Diane holds the most certifications of anyone that I have ever met. You know more about more.
Rachel knows. I'm like, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one.
Right.
It's quite inspiring. Yes.
Bucket list.
I'm just very curious. What can I say?
Awesome.
I feel like maybe that's starting to slow down a little, we'll see.
Thank you so much for being here and for talking about what is going to be an amazing retreat. And I'm excited for all the people whose healing process begins the moment they click and decide that they're doing it, as Rachel reminded us.
Yes.
Would you like to, I will have all the information in the show notes, but if you want to tell people where they can go to get more information and sign up, go for it.
Cool. Thanks. And thanks for having us, Porter. It's been so much fun. I could do this for hours with you.
Yep.
So
you'll have to come again.
Okay, you got it. We'll talk more. Coffee talk.
Yes.
So the retreat info is actually on my website, which is rachelchase.com /Sedona Retreat 2023. And if you just go to rachelchase.com, you'll see a little graphic for it, and they can just click on that, and all the info is there on the web page, and it's just $750 for the retreat. So and we do payment plans as well. So yeah.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we can make recommendations as to places to stay and
Yes.
places to eat and things like
Yes,
that.
yes. And we're helping people coordinate together if they want to rent cars from the airport together or find an Airbnb together. We're happy to facilitate and assist in that process for sure.
Oh, wonderful. Cool.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Well, thank you, and thank you all for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, y'all. Please like, subscribe, rate, comment, whatever the platform you listen to podcasts on offers you as a way to let its algorithm know that you're enjoying these episodes. That really helps. Also, there's some links in the podcast description notes that allow you to support the podcast in a way that benefits you and us. So please check those out. And if you'd like to stay in touch with me, you can sign up for my mailing list at portersinger.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.